Hello and welcome to Analog Shtick, a podcast all about video games. It's been a while since I've done this, kind of been busy doing stuff, but to keep me in the straight and true for the time being, I've got Chaz Ali with me.
Hello.
Alright. He's done some stuff with me before, some videos and stuff,
Yeah.
mainly playing Goof Troop
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. And
Talking him through Super Metroid.
yeah, it was a great time. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, except for the crashes.
Well, you know, it's what happens when you're playing it illegally. Yeah. Video games kind of come back into the mainstream this week. Did you watch that top?
I did watch Charlie Brooker's lovely little documentary.
What do you think of it?
I was thoroughly entertained.
Yeah.
I liked how, spoilers, Twitter was at the end of it.
Yeah.
As a video game.
That was a little bit of a swerve, although...
Never really thought about it. Makes sense.
Dan did point out that Twitter came out before Minecraft and The Last of Us.
Yeah, so if it's chronological thing, it's got to...
Which it was up until that point, and
although
then...
maybe it was just at the end for impact.
Maybe, I guess. Yeah, I can kind of see where they were going with it, but I know, like, because Brooker's sort of had Twitter as a thing that he's spoken about in kind of a subcontext through, like, Black Mirror and stuff like that before. But
I haven't actually seen any of that.
No.
I probably should.
You should. It's good. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good, and I thought the writing was all good, and I mean, to be fair, like Matt Lees and God, maybe the other people are doing some of the writing for it as well. The names fail me, but yeah, the writing was solid, and hopefully the fact that this even happened, maybe they'll do some more stuff afterwards. Can't see why they shouldn't do.
I mean, Games Wipe ages ago was really good.
Yeah.
So there should be more about games on TV.
Definitely. I'm surprised that the BBC didn't keep that going on, to be honest.
But it's kind of hard to talk about games sometimes, especially on TV.
Kind of.
Like, here's a game, you get to look at it while I talk about it.
Yeah.
But then I guess that's what we do on YouTube all the time. So.
Yeah, I think...
And also, TV people are like, oh no, we can't talk about games. People might buy them and stop watching TV.
Yeah, it's true. Well, that's kind of already happening anyway. But I think we're in a place now where there's enough stuff out there that there's no reason you couldn't have a half-hour show once a week.
Bring back Games Master.
Well, there is that. But, yeah, for the time being, if you haven't watched it, it's up on Friday. Someone's actually put the whole thing up on YouTube now, so go and check it out.
There was nothing in it I disagreed with, which was nice.
No, I mean, it was a blend of talking about games, and there were some games in there that weren't, good, like Night Trap.
Yeah, but they made a point of saying it was crap.
Yeah, but there was a reason why it was on there, and I guess I was probably maybe a little surprised there was no Zelda on there.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of reaction to the documentary online is that a lot of games weren't featured that maybe should have been.
But it's...
How much impact... I mean, those games are great and stuff, but they haven't really steered the industry in a direction. All the games show was were landmarks and sort of bullet points for bigger things rather than just...
and a lot of it was subjective. And to be fair, out of all of them, the one that I could question more than any other was the choice of The Last of Us. Because for sort of talking about these HBO box set type games that are very story driven and, the way games go at the moment, I think The Walking Dead might have been a preferable choice.
Maybe, yeah. I think The Last of Us and the like are more like big blockbuster movies rather than box sets and things like that.
Yeah.
But
just that kind of grand HBO spectacle kind of thing. And...
Yeah, but also Last of Us isn't even the first one to do that sort
of
thing.
But I think it's just the most current one.
Yeah, maybe. And I guess it actually did a pretty good job of it as well.
It's a very good job of it,
yeah. I've not played it yet. So
I've gone through it bits and pieces of it. It's pretty good. Anyway, so for the time being, I guess we should talk about some actual games we've been playing. And because I ain't done it for a while, and because it's kind of my show, I think I'm going to start off, so...
Go for it.
Yeah. Legend of Zelda, A Link Between Worlds. Smashed through it in a couple of days on my brand new shiny 3DS XL, which is a lovely bit of kit, by the way, must be said. Glad I made the purchase, although I now have a 3DS, a DS, and a 3DS XL, so I probably...
Oh, I've got two DSs, DS Lite, 3DS and a 3DS XL.
Yeah, I think I can start shifting some of them. But
I've also got every iteration of the Game Boy.
Yeah, I've got a few of them sitting around somewhere.
2 GameCubes.
Do you like Nintendo by any chance?
No, they're shit. No.
Oh, yeah. Or as we just figured out by the Wii U gamepad. Yeah, so A Link Between Worlds is a sequel to the rather famous A Link Between Past.
A Link Between Past?
A Link Between Past, a Link to the Past. Look, I'm tired, alright? A long old journey on Thursday. Yeah, a sequel to A Link to the Past, a very famous game that came out back in 91, late 91, I want to believe.
It was bloody amazing.
It was, and it still is amazing, and it's a game that holds up to this day. Which is all the more annoying that they don't have SNES games out on the 3DS.
But sort your shit out, Nintendo.
But it must be said, it's quite weird for this game to be called a flat-out sequel because it blends a very fine line between remake and sequel. Because pretty much the entire geography of Hyrule it is essentially the same, and it's this time instead of you've got the Dark World, you have the alternative world of Lorule, and the way you get into it is you don't, turn into a pink bunny and then use a little mirror and go back and forth and have little hotspots. You at the start of the game you get transformed into a painting, but you have like a bracelet, and then that means that you can go back and forth from being in the painting and whatnot. And it's a really cool feature. It's like Nintendo are really good at those kind of little moments in games. Like, they sometimes might not just have a whole game that is this amazing thing, but like the first time you see Mario flying in space or whatever, and you just like, it's
amazing.
It's just a really magical. Cool thing. It is magical. And it's a very magical moment, and like the idle animation when he's just kind of looking around with his eyes, and it's a really cool feature. So you use that now to go between the lands of Hyrule and Lorule, and
I like their creative naming there.
It is, they've really. The thing is, right, the whole synopsis of the game, it's a 30-second job at best. It's right. So this guy comes along and he wants to resurrect Ganon, and he uses the 7 sages, and then you have to get the Master Sword. It's
yeah.
You might have heard of that synopsis before. It's essentially the frickin' same. But what it does different this time, so the geography is pretty much the same, but the actual dungeons, they're completely new dungeons. The layout of them and the way you get around them is different. And large portion of that is because of this mechanic of merging yourself into the wall, and then you can go left or right on that level, essentially. So, yeah, the way you think about progressing through these dungeons is different. And now there's also the way that you acquire items, where in every single Zelda game up until this point, obviously, you would usually find the item that you need in the dungeon that you're in, and that's usually kind of the halfway point, and then you'll use that item to unlock the rest of the dungeon. Pretty much standard formula for a Zelda game since 1986. This one changes it up in that from more or less the get-go, you can rent every item that you need for a small fee. And the risk reward is that if you die with the items that you've rented, they'll go back to the shop. So you go through these levels, you go through the dungeons, and obviously you're trying to. They'll get to a point that you might see an item that you need, and it's got a fast track system, so you can go back to the shop that you need, go back in. But the problem is that apart from dungeons, you know exactly everything that you need to do. You know where rupees are going to be, especially like the 100 valued rupees. It's too obvious if you've played A Link to the Past within the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So the challenge that is there isn't really there, because the normal mode is also quite easy. And then on hero mode, you can just go get all of the rupees that you need to get, because you can pretty much get all of the items from the get-go. So it's a cool idea, but out of all of the systems in the Legend of Zelda universe that exists that could do with a change-up, that's like the least necessary thing to change up. So
what would you say needs changing up?
A new story that isn't. I mean, it is hard because it's kind of like the Batman Joker sort of syndrome in that you need one for the other to work. And I get that you kind of do need Zelda, Ganon, and Link to have the Zelda kind of story work. But then the little voice in my head shouts, Majora's Mask, Majora's Mask. And I think that's my issue. And especially with this as well, because like, if you look through all the Zelda games which have a direct sequel, which isn't a thing that happens very often, but when it does happen, you look at the difference between the original Zelda and Zelda 2, and just the entire gameplay is a completely different beast. And then you look at Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and for the most part, pretty much all of the assets in the game are the same. But the way the whole game is presented and what it does is a completely different, unique experience. With this, this game is two sides of the same coin with A Link to the Past. And, considering all the kind of wordplay and the way you've got these two worlds, it kind of makes sense, but it's just a little bit too much. If you wanted to play A Link to the Past on your 3DS, it's essentially playing the same game, really. It does feel like a 3D remake at points. With that said, it still is fun.
I've heard a lot of really hardcore Zelda fans saying it's one of their favourites, if not their favourite Zelda game now. So it obviously has some merit to it.
What I do like about it is it's a very streamlined Zelda game. Like, a lot of the fat is trimmed off. And because of the way with the rental system, it's, you're never kind of stuck at any point. You're constantly on the go. There's constantly always something to do. So yeah, it does feel just very much like a streamlined Zelda game, and that makes it a pleasant game to play. And all of the dungeons, there's no real dungeon besides the ice caverns, which is a really cool dungeon. There's no real dungeon that kind of stands out, and there's no spike in difficulty at any points because you can pretty much get into any dungeon that you want. But there's also no dungeon that feels uninspired or lethargic or dull. So it's still a really well put together game, but it's just the concept of calling it an out-and-out sequel, you're kind of like, it's really not. It tries at times.
Does it say A Link to the Past 2 on it?
It says A Link Between Worlds.
Yeah,
it makes it clear the game takes place a couple of generations after the original. So it's, don't get me wrong, it is still a very, very enjoyable experience. And it's with most Zelda games you get. If you liked a Zelda game before, you'll like this one. If you've never played a Zelda game before, play this one. And I certainly think just because, and I still don't understand how anyone likes Skyward Sword.
Because it's great as well.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's not. It looks really nice, but that for me is the point where the whole system of how a Zelda game works became really tired for me. And it felt really lazy in its game design and just constantly going back and forth and doing the same thing.
Yeah, I found it annoying that you kept going back to the same locations. I mean, they were changed up enough to still be interesting for me, at least.
Yeah.
Not for you.
And like just that battle with the impossible that you do like 85 times, and just nah.
Did you finish it?
I didn't finish it. No, I got bored of it.
The lead up to the final battle was really good. Where you're hacking through a horde of bad guys that once upon a time were really difficult.
Yeah.
And now you're just like, Master Sword, full charge.
But that's like when someone says to me, oh yeah, the latest Final Fantasy game is really good after about 40 hours. I'm not putting 40 hours in.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is as well is, because Nintendo's in kind of a weird place right now, in that everyone's been singing their death song since the GameCube didn't do as well as it should have done. Forgetting that the Wii has a crazy large install base and made a shit ton of money.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that install base hasn't translated to Wii U,
and that's why everyone's obviously going crazy at the moment. But the fact is, the 3DS
is amazing.
You could easily put the argument out there that 3DS is the console of the year,
yeah.
On software alone, if nothing else.
I've played my 3DS more than I've played anything this year.
Yeah.
That said, I own a lot of things.
So, yeah. I mean, I've played my Vita a lot this year, but that is basically because the PS Plus is pretty much the best subscription deal that you can get on any console. Anywhere. Certainly better than Xbox is fucking...
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, there's no reason, if you own a 3DS, there's no reason to play this.
There's no reason to play this?
No, there's no reason not to play this, sorry.
It's good job I'm here to...
It is good. It is.
He's tired, leave him alone.
I am tired. Yeah, what about you? What have you been playing?
I've been playing... Well, I recently bought Super Mario 3D World, as I am one of the 6 people in the UK that owns a Wii U.
Yes, and one of the 5 people apparently that actually has that game.
Yeah.
Can't believe Knackout sold that. Well, I can believe it because...
It's a launch title, there's nothing else to buy, right?
Yeah, I mean...
It's a PS4 sold... Is it PS4 game? Yeah, it is, isn't it? Shows how much I'm paying attention. Sold lots. It was ridiculous amount.
I think it was like 250,000.
Record-breaking launch, and they had to buy something for it. There's not a lot of other choice. It's either that or Killzone, really.
I can't really say either particularly inspires me.
The best game on it is a downloadable title.
Yeah.
So
Resogun.
Yeah. Which looks amazing, and I really want to play it.
Yeah, they look pretty cool.
But yeah, Mario 3D World is full of those little moments you were talking about earlier on. Where Nintendo just goes magic, and then you're like, oh, it's so charming.
Yeah. Does it do what the original 3D World or 3D Mario 3D does in that it just throws loads and loads of little ideas?
Yeah, every level is something new. There's something. Every level is something new. There's no other way.
But it's not the kind of thing where it does something and that idea sort of sticks around for a few levels. It's just constantly just.
I mean, things like if you play the levels in order, it'll be different every time. Things will come back. Because obviously they'll combine things from earlier levels to make new puzzles and things, but that level as well that has the things combined will have something else new in it as well. And it's just like, how do you have all these ideas and the time to throw them all into one game? It's crazy.
Well, I think it's the kind of thing where you get to the point that, and this kind of started from the original Mario Galaxy and has gone on since. It's just get a group of people at Nintendo in a room and just have a large canvas and just throw ideas and just keep throwing ideas with no rhyme or reason. And that really, I think, is the best way for Mario to exist at this point.
Like Goomba and Ice Skate. Like, okay.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Mario in a cat suit.
Yeah.
Mario, you can get these cherries that duplicate Mario, so you have, or whoever you're playing as, because you can play as all Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad.
Yeah.
And so you end up with, you're controlling like 6 or 7 Marios at once. Like, they all do the same thing, but like there's weird puzzles where you have to like maneuver them using the environment so they're like far apart from each other, and they get on switches that need 2 people on and stuff like that. How
does the game use multiplayer in that every level in the game can it work as a single player game?
Yep. Every single level in the game can be played. Well, apart there's a few little challenges where you play as this Toad guy, that's Explorer Toad that can't jump, and they're single player only. But the rest of the levels so far, I've not finished it yet, can be played with 4 people at once. All they tend to do is get in the way of other people, but it is great fun. Like playing multiplayer. I played with my housemate and his girlfriend. And
does it just make the game more frenzied and more chaotic? And,
yeah,
I mean, are there puzzle mechanics or anything that implements that?
If you coordinate with each other and you're really good at it, it can make the levels a lot easier. And you can reach places you wouldn't be able to reach normally. If you're jumping and someone jumps into the underside of you, you do you get extra height and do the sort of twirl thing. And you can,
I get it. Because I remember, like Little Big Planet was, celebrated and you can play with other people, but when you played it as a single player game, you get to this point where it's like, you need another person. Yeah. It's like, I don't want to play with another person. I'm doing my own thing.
There's, I think in any situations, I think this is why the duplicate Mario thing exists.
Yeah.
It's because some levels have these switches that can only be activated if you have a certain amount of people on them.
Right.
I haven't seen anything above 4 yet, so I'm assuming if you've got 4 players, you can just go and do that. And that's why these duplicate cherry things exist, so that if you don't have 4 players, you can just get those things. So far, I haven't found any that are required to finish the level, because you can lose those extra Marios if they get hit, in the same way that you lose yourself if you get hit, you die. There's usually the other way around. So.
Does it use the same system as the original 3D in that you have to get the 3 star coins in the level?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So it's really not that different.
Yeah, and you use those to unlock sort of optional levels and things.
Yeah. So. And how does it play? Is it 60 frames? Is it?
Plays like a dream. Yeah. 6 frames a second. 720p, but who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Why does everyone get so bent out of shape about it? If you cared about resolution, get a PC. And you would have been playing in 1080p. You've been playing in fucking more than 1080p years ago.
Yeah.
It looks amazing. Plays amazing. Like, there's no point in it that I think has sort of been annoying or missed the trick or anything like that. There's these weird levels where you sort of ride a Loch Ness monster. I think called Nessie.
I did it on Tuesday.
Plessy, it's actually a plesiosaur.
I did it on Tuesday. It was quite fun.
Yeah,
so,
it's fucking silly, but it's great. And it's got the amazing music from Mario 64 from when you're riding the penguin.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
You,
Is it like,
I can't sing.
I presume it's a more souped-up orchestral version of it?
All the music in it is great as well, and catchy as hell straight away.
That reminds me, I forgot to say, the music in A Link Between Worlds is pretty fucking incredible.
I've heard a lot of good things about it on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean,
everyone's
it's
banging on about it.
all live instruments, and the way that it's put together, and the way it changes at certain points, and just hearing the Dark World theme again is just incredible. So,
I really want to play it, but I'm getting Zelda for Christmas, I think. So
yeah, you ain't got too long to wait.
Making Christmas exciting again after years of Christmas.
Hey, look, Nintendo are good at that. If nothing else, Nintendo should just make their next machine and just call it the Christmas machine and be done with it. Although this is a question I have to ask actually, and it's just kind of going a little bit off topic from Mario for the time being. Actually, no, in some ways it is quite relevant as well. So we have the Wii U, and it really, until it has a pretty significant price drop, no one's going to buy it. Even at that point, I don't even know if I would want to buy it. I mean, I would love to own Mario 3D World, but it's not going to kill me. And it's mainly because I've got 3DS XL, and there's just as good stuff to play on that at the moment as there is anyway. Would it get to the point where we have the Wii U for a couple more years, and Nintendo really just completely put the NXA on any third-party publisher, or they'll probably do that themselves anyway, and we'll just get whatever Nintendo games up until now for the couple of years. Because I think the only big-ish Nintendo games left to come out will be the next Mario Kart game, maybe a Mario Party game. They had Nintendo Land, but they haven't had a Mario Party.
I think there is a Mario Party thing coming out.
And
or is that on the 3DS?
They probably might have on both.
Probably.
And then obviously a Smash Brothers game at some
which
point.
I'm very much looking forward to next year sometime.
But I don't think any of them are going to be system sellers.
I think Smash might have a decent impact. I think a lot of people are waiting for that.
Perhaps.
The Wii has basically become the Smash Brothers machine for those that aren't into the waggle stuff.
Yeah, I think even then, anyone that probably wants to play Smash Brothers probably already has a Wii U, and I think anyone else is waiting for it.
Zelda U will sell systems.
I don't even think if they'll have a Zelda U. I think
there's going to be a Zelda U.
If I was in charge of Nintendo, hypothetically, if Mario is not going to be the system seller, there's no way that Zelda's going to be the system seller. Unless obviously they had the price cut and everything as well. So I would wonder whether it'd be smart just to have the Wii U for a couple more years, announce that they've got whatever machine, and just say, look, the next Zelda game is going to be on it. First day launch title, 1080p, blah blah blah, all that kind of bollocks, and just try from there. I mean, I get that Nintendo pretty much live in their own bubble in the video game world, and that's kind of a cool thing. And I think they're happy in the place that they are, to a certain degree. But more than anything else, I just want people to shut the fuck up about the Wii U now, in terms of just pissing and moaning about it.
Oh, Wii U's dying, Wii U's doomed, blah, 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 blah. Heard it all before.
Yeah.
So was the GameCube.
Yeah, and it's a shame that more people don't own it. It's not surprising why more people don't own it.
Yeah. But as long as Nintendo have their handheld division,
they're
going to be fine.
Yeah.
I love how there's all this stuff about how mobile or dedicated gaming handhelds are going to be destroyed by phone gaming. It just hasn't happened.
No.
It hasn't happened at all.
And it would never happen, because, I mean, the problem is, with all of that, you look at some of the, like the attachments you've got. I saw the official iPhone controller attachment they had for it. I can't remember the price of it, but I was like, for the price of that, with the iPhone, I could buy myself a Vita and a 3DS XL.
And the problem with that as well is, until that controller comes with the system, no one's going to make games dedicated for that.
No.
That are really going to take off.
No.
Because only about 10% of anyone's ever going to buy one of those controllers.
And I remember as well reading about it. I think it was Mark Brown who did the review of it for Pocket Gamer, and he pointed out that when the game came out, they actually hadn't given it to developers to test with. So when it first came out, and this was just a really stupid idea that you would release this piece of hardware but not actually give it to developers to test out. So it's like none of it worked properly or in the way it was designed. But I mean, it's Apple, so I don't think they give a shit really.
I understand the need for that sort of controller thing if they're going to try to make phones into, well, they already are serious games platforms, but if you want to play games that don't require touch interfaces, and if you want to play games that require buttons and things, these controllers need to exist, but it's just never, it's not going to take off until it's packed in the box.
Yeah, and I think as well that if you have, I mean, mobile phones, they are perfect for stuff like Peggle and just simple, easy to digest games. That goes without saying, there's no argument about it. But anything that's like a real solid game of like 12 to 15 hours I can really sink into, I'm probably going to want to play it on my XL just because now I have one, just because the screen's that much bigger. And it's all integrated in a way.
Well, that's why a lot of people are buying tablets to play games on, because the screens are bigger, higher quality, usually more powerful than a lot of phones. Not always.
Not always, no.
And tablets are pretty good for that sort of thing.
Yeah. So. But again, bloody tablets is. I will never understand the need for a tablet. It's like, I have a phone, I have a laptop. Why do I need the weird hybrid bastard child in between?
Yeah.
But that's just me.
I personally, I work with tablets every day.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to see their value. But I don't think I have no interest in owning one myself.
No.
Maybe because my phone plays all the things on the plate, and I'm not too fussed about having a small screen.
Yeah.
And I don't have fat fingers.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about that.
Tiny fingers. Anyway, that was a crazy tangent we went off of. But yeah, Mario, overall, I presume it's bloody great.
Yeah, I wish I could find more time to play it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And then, I think as I say that, I had plenty of time to play it today, and I'm playing Bravely Default for hours.
Well, there you go.
Which is also very good.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in a second. I was going to ask you about that. Guacamelee is currently free on the PlayStation Plus service, which, again, PlayStation Plus is just a fucking incredible piece of marketing and just a subscription that the amount of games I've got to play this year because of that, it's just fantastic. So Guacamelee is a sort of 2D side-scrolling Metroidvania type game, and you play as a sort of downbeaten Mexican farmer who gets killed, and it kind of goes all Brandon Lee and the Crow for a minute, and then you turn into a luchador. Makes perfect sense, yeah. As you do. And it's a very funny, very charming, well-written, gorgeous to look at and audio to listen to game. It's just a really well put together game. It does all the kind of stuff that, because it's a Metroidvania type of game, so you will navigate through areas and you'll be looking at kind of certain areas thinking, right, well, I guess I'm coming back here. But it's all stuff that's easy to navigate. It's got the fast track system. But all the characters, all the kind of main characters are very, very memorable. And again, it's very well written. It's very funny. There was a bit earlier, I tweeted a picture about it where a guy was complaining about there's a princess. Well, it's not princess, but she's the woman who gets kidnapped in the game and you have to rescue her. And this guy was talking about how she could be heard crying over some of the latest Adele song or something. Like completely, really not related to the game at all, but it kind of taps on the 4-4 a little bit. And it does a lot of, like all over the game, it has posters in the background, and they're all designed in the way, if I showed you like a kind of traditional Mexican wrestling poster, and they have a very kind of distinct design. And they have that, and they have like loads of other video games that I've referenced and name dropped. So it's got like 2 Mexican wrestlers in masks, and one of them's red and one of them's green, and like the Super Mario, some Mexican equivalent or whatever. And there's a lot of that in the background. A lot of it seems really unnecessary at points. But, I guess they probably had time to kill and they had an artist who's like, look, most of the main art's done now, so you got 3 months to go crazy.
Everyone loves that sort of referential humour.
Yeah, but they're actually quite clever about it in the fact that they fit it into the game and into the style and the mechanics of the game. And yeah, the fight mechanic's pretty simple. You're usually using the face buttons. You can roll with the R button, and it makes dodging, and you can integrate that into the game. The moves that you learn, like the uppercut and the kind of body slash, they're integrated into actually navigating as well. So where it uses the Metroidvania type system, when you need to get to a ledge or you need to get to a certain passage, there's like a block and it's color coded, so you know the color of like the splash is green, so you splash through it, and that's how you get through. So all of the stuff that you're learning is stuff that you do use throughout the game as well, because that's something that does piss me off in a game where you're learning to get to the point where you use this item and you'll use it once and then you'll never use it again. And it's fine in a game like Mario where the whole game is built on that kind of system. But there are games, and even Zelda's been guilty of that, actually.
Yeah, Twilight Princess had a few things that were awesome, and you use them in one dungeon and then never again.
The fact that you don't get to use that standing platform disc,
the spinning top,
it's
amazing.
Is the best thing about.
Why'd you
Twilight
get it
Princess.
At the end of the game?
Well, you don't give it at the end of the game.
You get it. It's one of the later power-ups.
No, I was surprised it was like the second or third.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I always felt like a late game thing to me. Maybe it's because that game was so fucking long.
I guess. I will not have a bad word against Twilight Princess. I feel like I'm one of the only people that generally thought that was an amazing game, and I seem to be one of the only people that thought Skyward Sword was terrible, but hey.
I really enjoyed Twilight Princess. So.
You know what really pisses me off thinking about it, actually, is everyone was saying how Twilight Princess was pretty much Ocarina of Time, like, to a fault, to a T. I never got that. Like, okay, yeah, it uses the Forest Temple, it uses certain names and locations from Ocarina of Time. The story, to a certain degree, uses quite a lot of Ocarina of Time. But, like, the use of, oh god, what's her name? The little imp creature. Midna. Like, her inclusion in the game is so radically different to that of that fucking annoying fairy fuck.
Ah, Navi, where would the games industry be without you?
And, like, yeah, no, and she's not shoehorned in there. She serves a purpose. There's an emotional attachment to her. She's certainly better than the bloody robotic sword thing.
Can't remember her name.
No, from Skyward Sword.
That says a lot.
The worst thing in any Zelda game, even worse than Tingle, alright?
Tingle, don't say, I will not hear a bad word about Tingle.
I will. He
is amazing.
Tingle is amazing. But
he's also terrifying.
He is also... Well, he's like a fully grown man in a fairy outfit.
Yeah, with Koji Kondo's face.
Yeah.
Sorry, Koji Kondo, but you're a scary man.
I never played, was it a Game Boy Advance game? He had his own little,
Tingle's
Adventures or something.
Christ, I can't remember what it's called, but yeah. Did it even come out over here?
It sounds like a very Japanese...
Yeah, it looked very strange. I really wanted to play it, but yeah.
Please find out for me. What was it?
Let's find out his name.
Rosie... Is it Rosie Rootland? Yeah, freshly picked Tingle's Rosie Rootland.
I like it. So weird. The cover art is terrifying.
Yeah.
Look it up. It's scary as hell.
He's a terrifying creature.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that Majora's Mask would be the kind of place where that sort of character would be introduced.
It did come out over here.
Yeah, pretty sure it would have been.
I thought it was Japan. It didn't come out in America.
Well, the Yanks wouldn't have got it, to be honest. So, yeah, Guacamelee is free on PS Plus, and also is Sonic All-Stars Transformed, which I got really addicted with.
And I worked on it.
You did indeed. And it shows, because it's really good. So
yeah, well, I tested it, so...
That's probably why it's not broken.
Yeah, well... Yeah.
Well, it's not. I've never had any issues with it. It's never been broken when I've played it. Yeah.
If you know where the issues are.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll drive them to a certain point in a wall. Okay, yeah. Bravely Default. What the hell is that?
It's basically Final Fantasy with a different title.
Because I've got to be honest, the title is quite shit.
Yes, the title is atrocious.
In fact, there's been quite a few JRPGs over the last 6 to 7 years. My most favourite was... Oh, what the hell was it? Something Infinite Undiscoveries? Or what the hell was it called?
I think it's something like Infinite Undiscoveries.
Yeah,
what?
Just a dreadful, dreadful name.
That's Infinite Undiscovery sitting in your bedroom, not finding anything new in life.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bravely Default is a JRPG with a typical towns and overworld system with your random battles with invisible enemies.
Is it Square Enix?
It is Square Enix. I kind of think they've gone away from the name Final Fantasy just so they can do something a little bit different with it. But it is basically a Final Fantasy game. But it has an interesting system in the combat where you can take multiple turns at once.
Right.
So you can sort of, instead of just choosing one command and going attack, you can use the Brave command, which gives you another turn that turn. but it uses up BP, which recharge over turn.
This just sounds like the brake limit system, I've got to be honest.
And you can use up to 4 attacks in a go, or you can default. Yes.
Right, okay.
Which is basically blocking. And if you do that, you gain BP. And so you can then use, like...
Really sounds like
4 brave things in a go, and and then you can kill things. And I had a boss fight earlier on, the first boss fight in the game, and it was right pain in the arse, because one of them was a white mage, and kept healing herself. And so I had to time my usage of braves and things so she didn't heal herself. Which is quite... It actually made me think, which was nice.
Yeah.
Like, for a first boss in a JRPG, it actually makes you think about what you're doing. I haven't had that since Final Fantasy VI.
See, I remember... I actually was playing Final... What's the first boss in Final Fantasy VI?
It's that snail thing when you're in the Magitech armour. And when it goes into its shell, if you attack it, it fires a big fucking lightning thing.
Yeah, that really pissed me off.
And it goes... Groo.
I remember actually the kind of big snake thing in Final Fantasy VII, which actually isn't a boss because you could just run over the swampy area with a chocobo, but I didn't realise that, so I leveled up for about 5 hours to then take it down.
Yeah.
And then to be told, I think by Russ, that you could just run over the marsh. That pissed me off. Yeah, I got quite far now. Have you seen Final Fantasy VIII out in Steam?
Yeah. Didn't expect that.
No.
It came out of nowhere.
I know. I think Final Fantasy VII kind of came out of nowhere as well, to be fair.
Yeah, I think, people were constantly looking for that to turn up in, like, Steam log files and things before release. And so they found out about it early. And then it had a weird microtransaction system or something built in.
Did it? I didn't see that.
Dear. Bravely Default has a microtransaction thing.
Really?
Yep. You get these things called sleep points, which allow you to interrupt battles at any point. It's completely optional. You don't have to use them, but they make the game easier.
The whole point of microtransactions is that they're completely optional.
The way you get sleep points is by either leaving your DS in sleep mode with the game on for 8 hours, or by drinking sleep point potions, which you can only get by buying them.
Right.
And I don't know how much they cost. I don't care to find out how much they cost.
Yep.
And basically, microtransactions in pay-for games can fuck right off.
Yeah, I mean, like, just looking at some of the stuff that they've had for the PS4 and Xbox One games.
Yes.
And, I mean, it's ridiculous enough that the games are like 55 quid and upwards. And, I mean, it's not going away.
Yeah.
I don't even know why we're talking about it, because it's just, it's here and...
Well, I hope, you never know, it might go away one day. If people vote with their wallets and don't buy these games...
Well, that's the whole thing, and that kind of works with EA and their Season Pass package, which no one got.
Yeah.
But I think there's less chance of this going away because it's not as much of a big sum of money that you need to partake with. Like, you can partake with a quid or
I think the only reason people are sort of overlooking it is because these are games on the new consoles.
Yeah. And
there's not a lot of games to buy.
No.
So they buy these games and they find out this stuff and they get angry about it, but they're too busy with their new consoles to get that angry about it. If, say... Right, so there's some controversy over the latest Forza that's come out on the Xbox One about how cars cost ridiculous amounts of real-world money unless you grind and grind and grind and grind and grind. And if they had that system with that level of cost in, say, the previous Forza game, or say Forza 2 or something, no one would have bought it. We were up in arms about it. Well, because it's on a new console, just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, what was... what game is it? You know, actually, what does surprise me, a game that could use microtransactions in a way, they could have had it in Pokemon. They could have used microtransactions in Pokemon pretty easily, and I'm really glad they haven't. And I'm actually quite surprised that even any of the 3DS games do have the microtransaction system set up, and it really disappoints me, actually. But that might just be Square Enix, I don't know.
Well, Pokemon's going to have Pokemon Bank, which is a pay-for system, but that's a subscription-based thing.
Yeah.
Subscriptions sound very out of date these days, don't they? In terms of games. Well, apart from like Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus and things, those things make sense because they're...
Yeah. But the thing is, like, the whole reason we're at this point now, and a lot of this, I think, just on a purely on a numbers basis is the Ultimate Team stuff from the FIFA games, because that actually was very successful. And it annoys me because it's a complete fucking waste of time, personally.
I've not actually played that. Well, the Ultimate Team side of things. I played a lot of FIFA, but not the Ultimate Team side of things.
I dabbled with it.
I tried like for about 10 minutes, but then when I had no flexibility in my formations or anything, I had to get these cards that allow me to use different formations.
Yeah.
Fair enough, but I couldn't then customize them and move things around and stuff. And players like different formations, and so basically you end up with a lot of carbon copy teams because.
Do you know what I did in the end?
Work out the same.
I paid £25 and just bought Football Manager, and you know what? I had a better time with it.
Yeah.
So, hey.
There's another game that I've worked on. Yeah, I tested Football Manager for like a week.
Oh, of course, because you was at Sega, weren't you?
Football Manager handheld.
Yeah, I got really addicted to that.
How? It's horrible.
No, honestly, like I went to Turkey about 3 years ago, and it was during the World Cup as well. And because I was in Turkey, and so I was in a hot country and needed to be somewhere in my mind where I didn't realise I was in a hot country, I just kind of played Football Manager for a week. Within a couple of days, I had won the Premiership. Within a couple more. Oh Jesus! I think it was like a first division team. It might have even been Leyton Orient actually. I tend to stick for one of my local boys, and then the Champions League and just hot countries. No,
that's what these football games are for. It's for getting your crappy League Two team up into.
Of course,
up to win fucking Champions League.
Yeah, damn right. Stevenage FC all the way. Actually, couldn't even do it then. Probably fucking dreadful. Bravely Default. I don't know. It's just, it's very hard to be sold on a JRPG, even though I'm actually quite tempted to get Final Fantasy VIII just to see what all the fuss is about, because for the longest time, all I've ever heard from my closest friends is Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy VIII. And then fucking you'll come along and say Final Fantasy VI or something. Yep. And then I'll be like, I don't really care one way or the other, to be honest. And I did actually end up playing quite a lot of Final Fantasy VII, but the system just drained me in the end. So maybe I'll do a playthrough of Final Fantasy VIII.
I think with Bravely Default, it's if you're not into JRPGs, you're not going to like it.
No, I can't imagine.
It's definitely a JRPG. It's got quite a few interesting little things about it, and like a really cool sort of building up this town thing again system that goes on in the background. But it doesn't really veer very far away. It's so far from the JRPG formula.
Do you know what? Actually, some of the JRPG games that I do like are the ones that actually are shit. Technically, it's a JRPG. Like the Sonic RPG game that came out on the DS.
Yeah.
I got really addicted to that.
Wasn't that done by BioWare?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not very good.
No.
But I liked it because it wasn't very good and didn't act as an RPG game. The World Ends With You. Not really. Tweely. Not really as an RPG game.
I've not played it. I've heard it's amazing.
As an RPG game, it's not very good, but that's why I liked it.
Yeah.
So that's just, yeah.
It's one of those games that I've always meant to play, but never got around to. The art is very strange.
The art is very strange. It's very, very Japanese.
Yeah.
It's in art and just kind of philosophical direction it goes, and big hair. It's very Japanese.
Yeah. I'm not usually that huge a fan of JRPGs. Like, some have taken me. Like, I've completed Final Fantasy 6 and 7. I haven't actually completed Final Fantasy 6, that's a lie. I've got about 3/4 of the way through and always stopped and done it about 4 times.
Yeah.
But I tried playing Final Fantasy 8.
It's the Mario RPG syndrome.
Yes. Never completed Super Mario RPG.
You know what? I said I was going to finish my phone. I haven't touched it in like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Never completed Earthbound. Some point needs to do that, but it's really bloody hard. So
like that and Chrono Trigger, there's no way I can sit myself down for a week and play through it. I just haven't got the patience.
But there's a JRPG series I always have time for, and that's the Tales of Silly Word series.
Presuming that's not an accurate name.
No, well, there's.
In fact, if it was,
I'll go through the ones I've played. So there's Tales of Graces has the most sensible name.
Yeah.
And it sort of makes some sort of sense considering the characters in the story. But yeah, Tales of Symphonia, Tales of Vesperia.
Oh, now we're really getting out there.
Tales of Xillia or Exilia, whatever it's spelled, Xillia. Like, these are stupid made-up words that mean absolutely fuck all.
Are these all Japanese?
Yes.
And
quite often, whatever the word is not actually mentioned in the game.
Probably not. No.
In Tales of Vesperia, you form Brave Vesperia or something. It's like an organisation that fights things, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that's about it in terms of relation to the names. Oh, Tales of Fantasia as well. Spelled PH.
Oh, of course.
Which is
Phantasy Star did it, so
yeah.
Okay, so one last question on Bravely Default, like the story then, because pretty much every JRPG I've ever had any kind of relationship with, it's either been gang warfare or end of the world.
Yeah, I'm still very early in the game, but the story so far is there's a crystal, because it's basically Final Fantasy. There's always a crystal somewhere. Yeah. In fact, there's 4 of them. That each represents an element. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
And it's been overtaken by this evil thing, which I don't know what it is yet.
Sephiroth, I probably presume.
Some sort of big black cloud thing.
Oh, right, okay.
And then one of the main characters you get at the beginning is like the protector of that. She's like a priestess who prays for it and keeps it shining and doing its windy good shit. Yes, it's fucking wind crystal as well, so it's basically the start of Final Fantasy IV. And then it cuts to, you get the sort of opening sequence where you see all the characters that you are going to get over the course of the game, and then it cuts to the character you start as, who is called Tiz. Good name. And he's playing about with his brother, and then the world basically collapses. This massive hole appears in the ground, and it's kind of unexplained.
Do you think?
And he's the last surviving person in his village.
Do you think Square Enix should maybe stop doing JRPGs for about 15 years?
What? So everyone forgets the one story they can tell?
Yeah, kinda.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Or even if they want to spend... In fact, I've always been against remaking Final Fantasy VII, mainly just because I know it pisses everyone off that really wants it to be made, and I like that. But I'm at the point now, no, you know what? I'd rather you just went away for 2 years and remade it, just because that means it's at least 5 years until you make an original RPG again, and then I might be vaguely interested.
I'm trying to think, when was the last time they made something that wasn't following that storyline?
Was Lost Odyssey then?
I can't remember. I didn't play it anyway.
Well, because I actually played quite a bit of Lost Odyssey, and that was more of what I remember. Actually, no, that might have some end of the world themes to it as well. I remember there was like a samurai warrior or something, and that's pretty cool. But I don't even know why I played that. I think I was given that for some reason, and because it's a JRPG, I got bored of it. Anyway. So, have fun with it, I guess. Save the world, do that
It's
thing.
a very pretty game as well.
Yeah?
And I have to turn the 3D off because the frame rate's better without it.
Oh, really?
It's not like it doesn't chug along, but it just runs so much smoother when you have it off. But it's a real shame because it looks really, really good with 3D on. It's one of those few games that actually does look really good.
Going back to Link Between Worlds, actually, the game does a really good job of showing verticality and show you scaling up.
Yeah, I've seen in some of the footage.
And there's like points where when you're going up Hyrule Castle and you get to the top and you go across the bridge and you can see Hyrule below. It does a really good job of that, and it has like puzzle mechanics where you've got platforms that are raising, going up and down, and with the 3D on, you can really see that happening. So that does a really good job. I mean, for the most part, I barely ever turn my 3D on any of my 3DS games. Yeah. For the most part, all I ever did with Ocarina of Time is I would just turn it on every time I went into a room and goes, this is what it looks like in 3D. Back off you go.
Next DS, is it going to have 3D or not?
I don't even think Nintendo have thought about having a next DS yet.
Oh, they plainly have.
No, because they're too busy making different variations of the bloody 3DS XL.
Yes, but
they're up to what, like 55, I think.
What, with like different colours?
Different colours, yeah.
Probably.
Like as long as that's making them money, I don't think they have any interest.
I remember reading an article, and they'd released a new colour in Japan. It wasn't even a new pattern or anything; it was a new colour, and people were queuing around the block for it. About 6 months after the 3DS XL came out, it might have been the 3DS. It was just crazy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because I know they've got the Animal Crossing one. The ones I remember, there's an Animal Crossing one, there's a Pokemon one, there's the Golden Triforce one, which is the one I was very tempted to get. I ended up just getting a red one. The only one that I think of, I don't know if they have made anything, is if they make a Metroid game, and they put Samus on the front of it, or a Metroid or whatever, then
Oh yeah, in Guacamelee, can you crawl? Important question for all Metroidvanias.
No, you can't crawl, but you do turn into a chicken.
Okay,
and
so that's
and it's the equivalent essentially
of Guacamelee's morph ball is a chicken.
Yes, it's exactly what it is, and it works, you know, and you can actually like peck away at your enemies as a chicken. And then you just swipe the screen and you turn back into Juan. He's Juan. Yeah. It's good. You like it.
I should have a go at that.
Trying to think. What
is
else?
It on what platforms is Guacamelee on?
I think it's on Steam.
Cool.
Pretty sure, but it's Vita, PS3, and I know it's not cross-play between the two. And I'm pretty sure it's on Steam as well.
Well, maybe I'll pick it up.
Yeah,
I'm sure there'll be Christmas sales coming on fairly soon.
Sure, there's plenty of that stuff going on at the moment. Trying to think.
The autumn sale came out of nowhere and then disappeared again pretty quickly.
I barely was on Steam while that actually all went down. I completely missed.
I think I spent about £10 in the sale.
That's really good for you.
That was on 4 things.
That's really good for you. I remember the last Steam sale. I think I spent in the sum of about £45, and I think I've played maybe one of those games.
Yeah, I haven't played any of the things I bought.
I paid, I think, £7 and bought the entire Tomb Raider back catalogue. Which is a really bad idea because I tried playing the first 2 Tomb Raider games on PC and they're completely fucking unplayable. Completely
Once
unplayable.
Once upon a time, they were.
No. I don't mean in terms of it being a dated game. I mean in terms of well, they are. I plugged my controller in and nothing was responsive at all.
I remember once upon a time trying to play Tomb Raider 3 on a really old crappy Time computer and it would just crash all the time. That was fun.
That does sound like fun times.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, what else have I played recently? I really want to try, I've just seen you've got Steam up, I really want to try the Stanley Parable. That's on the list of things I'd like to have a crack at. That's pretty much it. I mean, I got to hold a PS4 controller for the first time the other day.
What do you think?
It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Trigger buttons are good. I liked it in my hands.
That's what she said.
Yeah. I just fucking...
Sorry.
It didn't make me want to buy one, I've got to be honest. And I can't see...
I kind of want to buy a PS4 controller, because apparently they just work really well with PCs.
Well, there is that. That is an option I might look into at some point.
But then, again, I have no qualms with my Xbox pad.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, there's nothing... there's nothing else I can think of. And there's certainly nothing at the end of the year that I'm going to play. No.
My most anticipated thing coming up is coming out on Monday, and it's the latest version of Project M, a mod for Smash Brothers.
Oh, Jesus. God.
But it says a lot about new console release, that the most exciting thing for these mods.
Yeah, the thing is as well, actually, it's been nice to see that a lot of the websites and magazines have all said a lot of the same stuff. It's like, they're alright, but there's no fucking games. Yeah. What's the point?
And everyone laughed at the Wii U and the 3DS when it happened with them.
Yeah.
Look at those dickheads, I got no games. And now...
3DS had like Still Diver, for God's sake. Yeah, great.
Yeah. But then it happened to the DS as well. So I don't know if you, like, when the DS came out, you had Mario 64 3D, or the DS, which was...
To be fair, that's all you needed.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it was a really crap version of the game.
But it was still Mario 64.
The controls were terrible.
It was, but it was still Mario 64.
Yeah. And like the other thing that came out alongside it was fucking Spider-Man or something, which was fucking poor.
I think, to be fair...
And Ridge Racer.
Ridge
Racer. Was also shit.
Yeah. I think, to be fair, if Watch Dogs had come out, it might have been a different story. Yeah. But at the same time, if it had come out, evidently, I'm presuming it would have been quite shit for it to have been delayed for as long as it has.
I think also, like, what I'm trying to say is these consoles don't need to worry about it, and people need to stop bitching about it, because...
It's going to happen.
Yeah, in about 6 months' time, these things will have decent libraries.
Yeah.
You know? And in a year's time, you'll be like, oh, yeah, we hope. Yeah. They should have decent libraries, let's say. Not they will.
If we live in a perfect world, Rise will be about 5 in about 3 months' time.
If we live in a perfect world, it'll be pulled. We can get like the Ashes game. Oh my god! Did you see the footage of that?
That was.
I'm so sad that I can't buy it anymore. I want it.
Man, that looks special.
Fucking.
I thought that was a rib.
The animation is amazing.
I generally thought that was a rib. I didn't think that was a real game.
No, it is, and it got pulled, and it's the only game to be cancelled after it got released.
That is.
I really want it. I really want to play it.
Well, I'm sorry, but you can't.
Yeah, I'm probably. Surely now it's abandonware, so I can just download it.
Probably.
Legally,
it's probably freeware somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll put the source code out for someone to just have at it.
Yeah. Someone fix it, please.
Please. Yeah.
I wonder how the developer of that is getting on, because the publishers come out and openly shat on them, basically.
I would put that as a strained relationship at best now.
Basically, the publisher came out and said, we trusted them with it, and after, even with loads of delays, still couldn't fucking do it. So, here everyone, have your money back. And the developers are blatantly sitting there going, oh fuck, our jobs are done.
I need to look into that some more, because I saw the footage of it on Giant Bomb and just went... And the fact that it's like Jeff Gerstmann's talking about cricket, which in itself is an amazing concept. But yeah, fuck, that looked terrible.
Yeah.
And a special kind of terrible. Not just poorly designed, just not designed at all.
It's like, I don't even know what the fuck they were thinking releasing that. Like, in the first place, it's just... Some of the videos are just so broken.
Well, I think it's just because, cricket...
the way the ball just appears in their hand.
Cricket games aren't exactly a constant thing,
No. As a cricket fan, it saddens me. It's not like a cricket game. But
and also because, it's the Ashes are out at the moment, so you want to get out
we don't
in time.
talk about that
No.
as an Englishman.
I can, because I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the score is. In fact, you could tell me what the score is and I wouldn't understand what it means.
Basically, we're losing.
Oh, okay, I can understand that. Oh, well.
So,
it's alright.
That's...
I just saw the World Cup qualifiers yesterday, so,
Yeah, that's kind of... Who have we got? Uruguay?
We got Uruguay, Italy and Costa Rica, but it's not even just that. It's the fact that our first game is pretty much in the Amazon rainforest.
Cool.
And it's 1,800 miles away from where sort of, the main kind of hub is. So...
Why? I know Brazil is huge.
Well, that's why.
But, surely you'd have it all in one thing?
No. You look at any World Cup.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's like over here, we'd have a game at Wembley, we'd have a game at Old Trafford.
Imagine having it in Russia.
I think the next one is in Russia.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Well,
pretty
enjoy
sure
that one, lads.
Yeah, I mean, we complain about Qatar, but fuck. At least Qatar's a small country. It's just all of it is on fire. And on that completely ridiculous tangent...
unrelated video games, note.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, that was a solid hour. I think we might go and play some Mario or Starbound now. And yeah, this might be the last one of the year, even though I haven't really done one in about 4 months, but hey, not perfect world we live in. And I guess I'll see you again at some point.
Probably.
For
more ramblings.
Sounds great. Well, see you again next time.
Bye.